welcome everyone. Elena Rarick here with Transform Publishing, here with two of our very special authors, Henry and Bill, the authors of Finding God's Purpose for Your Career. Hello, Henry. How are you today?
I'm so excited to be with you and share our vision with all of your listeners.
And we cannot wait. Super excited. Thanks for being here today. Bill, how are you doing?
Doing great, and appreciate you having us on.
Absolutely. You're welcome. We are going to talk about your book today, Finding God's Purpose for Your Career. So I have 10 questions for you guys. And for the audience, these are the 10 questions they will be answering for you today. Number 1, what motivated them to write the book? Number 2, why are there Bible verses in the book? Number 3, what differentiates their book from others in the same field? Number 4, what exercises in the book are most helpful? Number 5, I forgot to ask them how to pronounce this Japanese word, but what is, Bill?
Ikigai.
There you
Ikigai.
go. What is Ikigai and how do you use it in the book? Number 6, how do you use the next steps in life exercise to help job seekers? Number 7, why is a clear, compelling, and concise value proposition so important? Number 8, how do finances impact a job search? Number 9, what are the most important soft skills? And finally, number 10, what's your approach for finding the hidden job market? So, are you two ready to be in the hot seat?
Yeah, I think we're both ready, and I'm going to suggest there's 2 questions there that I know that I want to deal with. And the first one is one I'd like to deal with because, in a sense, I began this effort. And the last one about the hidden job market is something that I'm passionate about. So if you let me lead off, Bill, I'm going to tackle that first question and you can add whatever you like.
Go right ahead.
Perfect. So just as a reminder to the audience, the first question, Henry, what motivated the two of you to write this book, Finding God's Purpose for Your Career?
The motivation for this ties into something that I think is critical for all humankind and all who are in the workforce. I, through a series of decisions in life, became a life coach and a career coach. And over a period of 40 years, I worked with over 3,000 men and women and helped them find a better path. And after having done that, the better part of 30 years, I made a decision it was time for the old man to step aside and retire and enjoy the good life in Florida. And something has come clear to me over these last few years. When I look back at my life, I see certain watersheds. I see certain moments when I was told by a religious organization, because I had been through a divorce, I could not work for them. And that almost destroyed me. And the second event in my life was when my name was put on a president's desk to play a major role in the Labor Department. And then I was told there were conditions to that went against my morality. Again, it almost knocked the pins out from under me. But now, at the tender age of 76, I've come to realize every one of those setbacks is what made me stronger and maybe a little more savvy and a little more knowledgeable. And at that point, when I came to Florida, I knew this business was too good because I had written a book, which was used by clients for years, but something had changed in me. And I realized that unless people can bring together their spiritual values with their skill sets and be in harmony, they will never have a happy life. And I found Bill. And in Bill, I found someone who is dedicated, committed, and whose spiritual values are such that it just tied in with everything. And there's a point in time where the student becomes the master in terms of much of what we do. And that is why we wrote the second book. And Bill added a lot to that in terms of the spiritual values. And we can take that further. But Bill, you want to add to that?
Yeah, just, Henry and I have known each other for about 15 years, and he asked me to come help him as a volunteer at a job fair, which is where he was giving overviews about how to be successful at a job search. Gradually, I started working with clients, and I said, Henry, I like your former book, but I'm going to add some stuff to it. So over about a 10-month period, I just kept chipping away at it, and then we went back and forth about what the title would be, and then Henry came up with the title because it totally fit. And there are then the next question that's going to be, why are there Bible verses in it? Which goes right back to what you were just saying, Henry. If you can't align your career with your spiritual or faith-based beliefs, it's going to be friction. There's going to be difficulty. So there are Bible verses sprinkled through it that are really aligned with what the text is in terms of how do you get to the next phase of your job search and ultimately the finish line of the right kind of job or career change that you're looking for.
Perfect.
Well said.
Yes, very well said. Great story, guys. Well, let's go on to the question number 3. What differentiates your book from others in the same field? Bill, you want to take that one first?
Yeah, I'll start. I mean, if you go to any bookstore, you'll see a whole section on career development, and you'll see a whole section on life goals and spiritual development, but never the twain has met, I believe. And I've been to several bookstores in the last 3 years just saying, okay, how does this fit or not into what we're looking to do? And we think we've combined the practical step-by-step, how do you get to the right position? What do you do that's going to make it so that you finish on top versus somebody else? And it's a very competitive job market, as everybody knows. And then how do you align that with your own beliefs? How do you align that with what is going to fit with you and what's going to keep your integrity every day you walk into work?
I want to put a footnote there. The footnote is, having helped so many people in so many ways for so many years, I kept finding that those people after several years would come back, and even though they had a job, even though they had covered the income part of the equation, they weren't happy. And what we're suggesting is you can merge those two, and if you're willing to make the effort, my Lord, you can do so much more than you ever believed possible. And we help people do that.
Amen. All right, number 5, what exercises in the book are most helpful?
Yeah, I'll grab this one, Henry. There are really 3 of them, and they're near the front of the book. The first one is key decisions and events. And Henry talked about a few events in his life that really re-steered him in ways that he didn't expect and kind of almost knocked him out at the knees. Sometimes they're of no fault of your own, like if you're downsized, right size, reorg, ripped, you have no control over some of that. And then there are other things that you've done that you've made the decision as to what to do proactively that turned out one way or another. Like Yogi Berra once said, when you see the fork in the road, take it. And you have to do that. So that key decisions exercise, I think, is really important because it makes you look today backwards and see, how did I get to where I am right now? Then there's another exercise in the book. It's called What's Next in Life. And I borrowed it with permission from an author named Matthew Kelly. And it's basically take today and look forward as though you were in a hospice bed looking backwards. And what do you want to manifest in your life in 14 different areas? And the combination of those 2 things usually paints a pretty good picture of what people are all about. The third yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, you finish the thought.
No, I said the third exercise is related to accomplishments, and it's specifically the building blocks for how to construct a resume and a LinkedIn profile that makes sense. And most people in their resumes focus on duties, responsibilities, and activities, and nobody really cares. So this accomplishments exercise is geared to make sure that someone can define how they added value, what did they do to make an impact, and what were their accomplishments. So the combination of those 3 really lays the groundwork for everything else we do.
Here was the footnote I wanted to add. Being a Jersey boy originally, before this chapter in Florida, I used to go to a little delicatessen in Verona, New Jersey, and you're going to smile, Bill. Henry's Delicatessen, no relation to me. And who would be sitting out in front of that store but Yogi Berra? And one morning he looked at me and he said, do you know what it's not over until it's over means? And I said, Yogi, tell me what you think. And he said, I'm sitting here out in front of this little store giving more to people than I ever did when I had number 8 on my back playing for the Yankees. My life is fuller now than it ever was. It's not over till it's over.
Beautifully said. I love how you said to picture yourself on hospice looking back. And it's so true. I teach in business, start at the end. Where do you want to be in 5-10 years? And then let's build into that. And you pretty much just said that with life too, and the way that you put it on hospice and looking back. I just think that's a beautiful concept to get people to think. It definitely got me thinking. So thank you for sharing that. All right, next question. Number 5, what is this Japanese word and how do you use it in the book?
It's called Ikigai, and it's something I came upon 3 or 4 years ago. Then I realized it's been around for centuries. And if you look at a Venn diagram, go back to your junior high school math class and put 4 circles that intersect, and the target is this. It's the combination of what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, what the world needs, and importantly enough, what you can get paid for. If you're in that bullseye, you're going to be more content with your career than if you're not. And the diagram is on page, I'm not sure, 10 or something of the book, but it's very early on to get people thinking about, okay, what do I really like to do? What am I really good at? And then there's several other things that we do during the course of the book to bring those out.
Perfect. So which one of you speak Japanese, or is it just the one word?
That's the only, domo arigato. That's it. I'm done. Yeah.
Perfect. I love it. All right.
His vocabulary certainly exceeds mine in that area, even with the one word.
I now know one word, but don't know how to pronounce it. So we're doing good. All right. Number 6, how do you use the next steps in life exercise to help job seekers?
Well, it goes back to the 3 important exercises, and I guess I jumped the gun. Again, that's the one where you're, looking from your 80 or 90-year-old hospice bed backwards. And it really does prompt people in ways that they're not used to thinking. And, begin with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey said. So that's the purpose of the exercise.
Perfect. I know I'll be thinking about that for a while now. All right, next question. Why is a clear, compelling, and concise value proposition so important?
Bill, I want you to take that one, and then I have a footnote for you, but go ahead, take it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen thousands of resumes, and Henry's probably seen tens of thousands of resumes. And the majority of people don't recognize it's your elongated business card, and it has to be able to communicate what you can do to add value for an organization in 6 to 8 seconds, because that's all you get. So if your value proposition, number one, isn't clear and it's kind of jumbled and all over the place, it won't show up on a resume or a LinkedIn profile, and it won't show up as soon as you start speaking to somebody. So compelling means like, why should I be interested? And concise just means we're in a soundbite world, and you have to make the impact on what you can do to help a company or an organization or somebody's department as compelling, clear, and concise as possible. And then you're going to have a foot in the door. That's just a start, but you can't get in the door until you have that going on.
Maybe part of getting a little bit older has to do with a bit of directness. Bill tends to say things sometimes in a kinder way than I do, and I tend sometimes to be a bit abrasive. Maybe that's a function of age, but here's the way I want to spend it. Most people, when asked a difficult question at interviews, and what is that question? Tell me about yourself. If I could tape what most people respond on that question, I could do stand-up comedy. Because the bottom line is, what do employers care about? They care about what you can do for them. That's the value of a value proposition.
Awesome. Are you able, Henry, to give us an example of some of the things that people say?
You know what? I'd rather, forgive me, I'd rather not deal in what people say that they shouldn't say. I'd rather spend our time on what people should say.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Next, how do finances impact a job search?
Bill, you want to lead?
I'll start with that one. I hear it probably 3/4 of the people that I have a conversation with. Either their finances aren't in good shape, or some amount of, hey, I can't invest in myself, or I can't spend this. But I look at it like this. If you're a $100,000 a year earner, rough numbers say you're worth $2,000 a week, $400 a day. So working with a coach, and it gets you back to work even a week sooner than you could have done on your own at a salary level that you're really worth, pays out almost every time. So finances are important. Clearly, you're going to have expenses, but if you have to look at working with a career coach, at least from my perspective, as though you're investing in yourself. It's not a mortgage or a car payment or a phone bill or whatever it is. And if you continue to be, let's just say, in transition or unemployed or whatever, your money or your savings or whatever are going to leak away anyway. The goal is to get you back in the saddle again as quickly as possible. And that's how finances impact a job search.
You know, one of the problems, Elena, is most people have a distorted view of the value of money as it relates to their career. If we look at our career over a 20 or a 30-year period, it's worth several $1 million. And yet people hesitate when it comes to investing a month's income to change the rest of their lives and do something wonderful for their family. It's not about money. It's about belief in self. And most of the people who believe in themselves will step forward and say, you know what, I probably could find a job. Most people can, but I want the right job. And that's the difference.
Beautiful. All right, next question. What are the most important soft skills?
Yeah, there are several articles written about this, but I'm going to distill it down to three. It's professionalism, integrity, and dependability. If you have those three, you're going to go a long way. Now, clearly there's the working with others and, you know, working with difficult people and all that, but those are all subsets of those first three.
I don't know whether you'd label a soft skill as being attitude, but if you didn't say attitude, Bill, I'm not sure if that fits in the three you gave, but I believe somebody's belief and attitude is critical. And I view that as a soft skill.
Absolutely. I would see that as a soft skill too, because you have to work at developing the right attitude. Otherwise, you're just ran over by emotions and
exactly
the skill. Very good. All right, final question. Henry, this is for you. What's your approach for finding the hidden job market?
A willingness to do what other people are not willing to do. There are certain things we can do to reach decision makers in corporations that most people leave to the sites that we see. I don't care whether it's any one of them. You can name it. I don't want to name them. The bottom line is we all know how most people rely on the computer and rely on some of the sites to find their job. Their chances are 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 2,000 of being selected. And we have pioneered, if not pioneered, certainly innovated ways to reach decision makers in the kinds of companies people need to find to make a difference. And if they're willing to do the work, believe me, it will pay off. Bill, you want to add to that?
There are several like steps along the way, but the idea is to circumvent the job boards where it's like buying a lottery ticket and get yourself in the side door in front of the hiring manager, because 2/3 of available positions are filled by the networking capability of either the candidate, the hiring manager, or the hiring company. 20 to 30%, depending on the field that you're in, are filled by what's on job boards, 5 to 10% with recruiters. So if you focus your time doing the kinds of things that Henry was referring to, and we go into a great deal on those in the book, you're going to be much more successful.
You know, I want to just share this last thought, Elaine, if I can. I'm currently working with I'm going to say a young lady. Everybody's young compared to me, but I'm working with a woman who's in her early 40s, earning over $250,000 a year. And because of the virus and other conditions, the job went away. And I said something to her. I said, you're going to find it. You're going to find it quickly, because I know how dedicated you are and I know your work ethics. She's had 7 interviews in the last 7 weeks of jobs between 150 and 300K at a time when other people can't buy an interview, because she's doing that hard work. People are willing to do the work, will get the reward for their efforts. I know that.
Very good. And that's important to understand in today's society too, because not everybody wants to do the work that it takes. So that's awesome to hear of her success. Very good. Well, guys, thank you for being here for this interview and sharing some of your knowledge about the book and about your topic here with us today. For all you viewers, make sure you continue to follow Henry and Bill with the writing and publishing and printing of Finding God's Purpose for Your Career. And stay tuned, because we will be back soon with another interview. Thank you, guys.
God bless. Thank you.